Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 10, Text number 1. Maitreya Uvacha Prajapate Duhitaram Shishumarasya vai Dhruvaha Payeme Brahmim Nama Tatsuto Kalpavatsaro. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, after Dhruva Mahārāja married the daughter of Prajapati Shishumara, whose name was Brahmi, and two sons named Kalpa and Vatsara were born of her." Purport. It appears that Dhruva Mahārāja married after being installed on the throne of his father, and after departure of his father to the forest for self-realization. It is very important to note in this connection that since Maharaj Uttānapada was greatly affectionate towards his son, and since it is the duty of a father to get his sons and daughters married as quickly as possible, why did he not get his son married before he left home? The answer is that Maharaja Uttānapada was a Raja Rishi, saintly king. Although he was busy in his political affairs and duties of the government management, he was very anxious for self-realization. Therefore, as soon as his son Dhruva Mahārāja was quite worthy to take charge of the government, he took this opportunity to leave home, just like his son, who without fear left home for self-realization even at the age of 5 years. These are rare instances from which we can see that the importance of spiritual realization is above all other important work. Maharaj Uttānapada knew very well that to get his son Dhruva Mahārāja married was not so important, that it should take preference to his going away to the forest for self-realization. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. So Dhruva Mahārāja was installed as the king in the place of King Uttānapada. King Uttānapada is said to be now detached from all the affairs of the kingdom, and he has wanted to dedicate himself fully to self-realization. The father also, like the son, who did at the age of 5, the father also left for forest for self-realization. And Prabhupada says here that after installing Dhruva Mahārāja on the throne, King Uttānapada did not wait to do any of his other worldly duties like marrying off children. Rather, he decided that what was more important was to pursue the path of self-realization rather than continue with these kind of worldly duties. At some point of everyone's life, even if a person who is following the pravritti marg of living in obedience to Vedas, engaged in fruitive activities meant to gradually rectify the rebellious soul. So even if one is involved in all those things, at some point of time, the soul has to come out of that circle tangentially. That has to happen for self-realization. These fruitive activities and the Vedic path by itself is a circle. Karma, punya, papa, it goes on. In a circle, at some point, every point there is a tangent. So the living entity can take off from any point, ignoring the duties within the circle. Many people say, why Srila Prabhupada has encouraged people, young people, to give up their duties to father, mother, society, everything, and engage in the Sankirtana movement. A very glaring reality that is happening in the ISKCON movement. So how is Srila Prabhupada, who is an Acharya, is directing people to join like this? They should do all their duties and then join. That is a Vedic path. So the answer is that, yes, that is the Vedic path. The path of Krishna consciousness is above the Vedic path, next level. And that is what he did. Just like here, if you see, King Uttānapada is not sticking to the Pravarti Marg, doing his duties and all these things like a good citizen. He is not doing that. So Bhagavatam itself has examples of so many things like that. First of all, Prahlad himself left and went into the forest at such a young age. Similarly, Dhruva Mahārāja, Dhruva Mahārāja at a young age, nothing to do with the Pravarti Marg. By dint of circumstances, it so happened that he wanted a kingdom greater than his father, and in that process he wanted to find God. His mother told him, only God can help you. So let me go find God in the forest. Where can you find? Mother said, you can find him in the forest. He determined to walk to the forest, and then Narada Muni, the great sage, the Lord in the heart, sends Guru when the disciple is ready for something, for taking some instruction towards detaching from this material world. Immediately the Lord in the heart arranges the spiritual master, and according to Narada Rishi's instruction, this young boy attained self-realization. Similarly, Prahlad also, right at the younger age, he should have been like any other student, thinking of studying material education, getting materially educated, and becoming a worldly man, rather than all this. Even at a very young age, as a small boy, Prahlad chose to go tangentially. So Krishna consciousness path is a tangential path. We should understand that. And the clue for that is given by Krishna himself. Sarva dharman paritteja mam ekam sharanam praja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. When one gives up one's duties, family duties, societal duties, then that is, as per the Pravarti Marg, it is considered to be sin, impious. Neglecting the duty to father, mother, all these things is considered to be impious. Therefore, Krishna says, no, you take a tangent and come to me. Ma suchaha, do not worry. Worry about what? papebhyo, sarva papebhyo, sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vijaya aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Yes, there will be some reactions because it's a law of nature. Don't worry about it. I will take care of it, those reactions. So, normal, of course, now in the material world, on earth, you see living entities, they are not even having any pravritti marg. Pravritti marg is a Vedic way of living. You want to enjoy, do certain things properly as per Vedic injunctions and enjoy. And then gradually you get fed up of what is this duality, enjoying suffering, enjoying suffering, enjoying suffering, enjoying suffering. That will propel you to question where is the real enjoyment, where is the eternal enjoyment, where is enjoyment without suffering. So this is the only purpose of pravritti marg. So that realization of where is eternal happiness, where is eternal enjoyment, where is eternal love, where is eternal knowledge, where is eternal life, these questions can come at any point of going round and round in the Janma Mrityu Chakra. And as you see, in all cases, for someone to go off the tangent, to come out of this circle of punya and papa, to come out of it, to go tangentially, something has to pull you. Only when there is another force, the force of karma makes you rotate around that point of Janma Mrityu. There has to be a force outside the circle which will pull you, and that is the association of a pure devotee. The case of Dhruva Mahārāja, you see the association of Narada Rishi. The case of Prahlāda Mahārāja also, it is Narada Rishi's mercy. So in all our case, it is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada that has taken out of the tangential, out of the circle of punya and papa, janma, mrityu. So very fortunate that we are able to do that. Or we are very fortunate that we were gifted with the transcendental life of devotional service to the Lord. So there is no age limit for it. Whenever it, by the mercy of the pure devotee and the Lord, one immediately gets this chance. So now Dhruva Mahārāja's father, Uttānapada, he took off on a tangent. He did not wait for him to get him married and all those things. So what is the tangential force that acted on Uttānapada? His son's association. His son, he got his son's mercy. He was a pure devotee, self-realized soul. By getting that association, he got the taste and went beyond that. Of course, Dhruva Mahārāja, as per the will of the Lord, to preach Krishna consciousness, like Prahlāda Mahārāja, they all grew up. Dhruva Mahārāja did not remain in the forest. He got self-realized. Then he had his transcendental mission for which he lived in this world, in the Paramarthic world, with a transcendental mission. Vyavaharik world. Paramarthic mission in a Vyavaharik world. That is a status, that is a kind of life that a pure devotee lives in this world. So Prabhupada in the purport is making this point that there is no need to wait for all these things. If one is inspired, you should leave home for self-realization. In the forest, you have to completely depend upon the Supreme Lord. for eating, for sleeping, for protection. You have to fully depend upon the Lord. These are some of the conditions for self-realization. Similarly, when you tangentially come and join Srila Prabhupada's movement, at least to start with, at that point, you don't think what I will eat, where I will sleep, what will happen to old age. Nothing you think. So coming to ISKCON is like coming to the forest. But of course, Maya is so powerful, afterwards one starts calculating. Then he turns, his consciousness is no longer like being in the forest. So much bliss that devotees have when they hear Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vrija. Without thinking of anything else, devotees simply surrender to Srila Prabhupada. No calculation is made. That is the meaning of surrender. No calculation was made. That state of consciousness should continue in a devotee's life, full-time devotee's life. It should continue. Somehow the mind traps and then starts making calculations. Oh, I am in an organization, organizational dynamics, all these kind of things. It's all organizational aspects are all at Vyavaharik level. If a devotee decides to be at the Paramarthic level, he is constantly protected, taken care of by the Lord, maintained by the Lord, guided by the Lord, engaged by the Lord. There's absolutely there can be no doubt about it, because Krishna says, Masu Chaha. But if you worry, then Krishna says, okay, you don't want to surrender, you are worrying. You have started doing material calculation now. What is this? I have given you the opulence of not required to think of your tomorrow. I have given you the greatest opulence. Practically, it is like liberation. I have liberated from the world and brought you to Srila Prabhupada. And now you make all material calculations. Your emotional dependence should be only on the most dependable friend, Krishna, Lord in the heart. All the other things we will have to face in life. Vyavaharik things, it's a fact. Vyavaharik means sukha dukkha. Vyavaharik means success, failure. Vyavaharik means suddenly happiness, suddenly frustration. But all those dualities of Vyavaharik life, because we have a body, there is a certain Vyavaharik forces are there. For that Krishna says, Tam titikshasya bharata. Just tolerate that. Don't try to find solutions for those material problems. Tolerate and engage yourself in transcendental devotional service of the Lord. So our mind has to be preached to. Otherwise mind will preach to us. No, how can you neglect all these things? Look at this, look at that, look at that. It's in the organization, this fair, that is not fair, this is all the kind of things you start analyzing. Then we become a Vyavaharik man, not a Paramarthic man. Devotee, yes, Vyavaharik devotee. Completely, his emotions are kicked up and down according to the Vyavaharik situation. Either very happy or very sad, or something happens good, then you are happy. Something not favorable, you become unhappy. If one learns how to depend upon Krishna, then when anything happens, good or bad, he simply depends on Krishna, surrenders to Krishna, and performs his devotional service. And he does not get lost in the drama of the Vyavaharik world. Devotees who are engaged in transcendental devotional service, because they are in the material world, they have a material body, They have forces of gunakala karma acting on them. So there is a vyavaharik aspect to the devotee's life also. Prarabdha karmas. Vyavaharik aspect is there. How does one deal with it? One should not become deeply affected emotionally by anything that happens in the vyavaharik devotional service. There is, as long as the devotee is firmly fixed in the paramarthik direct association of the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Sankirtana, worship of the Lord, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, all these things are paramarthik. No contamination can come there. There is no contamination in it. Unless we bring the contamination from the vyavaharik world of ours into that. Through our mental mind is a crazy mind. So one should perform devotional service, evam prasanna manaso. One should always learn how to enjoy transcendental Ananda, that I am servant of Krishna, I am protected by Krishna, I am cared for by Krishna, I am engaged by Krishna. Contemplating on this constitutional truth, that I am a pure devotee. Now I am completely contaminated. Every soul is a pure devotee. Jivera Surupoi Nitya Krishna Dasa. Every soul is a pure devotee. Anything that impure that I see in me, Asat and Achit, they are all intruders. They are covering over my pure soul. That's not me. I am a man, I am a woman, this is not me. This is vyavaharik identity. We have a paramarthik identity as an eternal servant of Guru and Krishna. So we always have to take shelter in that. We seek protection for our paramarthik identity as an eternal servant of Krishna. What is the danger that attacks? That's Maya. So we seek protection from Krishna. We seek protection from Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, to protect us against the enemy, which will make us forget Krishna. And that is our pleasure beliefs. Kama Sankalpa, concocted ideas of happiness, pleasure, all these things, our chittam is filled with that. By the mercy of the holy name, all these things can in our chittam will get evaporated and our chittam will become pure. That is the whole process of Krishna consciousness. Chetodarpana Madhanan, to purify our heart by association. So there is this illusory world, vyavaharik world. Then there is a paramarthik world. Vyavaharik world, the members of the identities of the vyavaharik world, they are all false. How long I can be Madhu Pandit? How long you can be somebody else? You cannot be. So this is the identity right now, bodily identity. So these are that all the identities, I talk to you, you talk to me, they talk to you. We are all seeing each other as identities of this material world. The vyavaharik identities. So that is vyavaharik world. I am the body is a seed of the Vyavaharic world. Everybody. I am eternal servant of Krishna, he is eternal servant of Krishna, everybody is eternal servant of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, eternal, we are part and parcel of Krishna. That perception of the world is Paramarthic world. So here Uttānapada decided to go off the tangent, go off in a tangent, out of the circle of this Vyavaharic world. Let me go to the forest. That means he cut off all his relationship with everybody else. Because all those relationships are illusory relationships. Which is very clear. 100 years back, all X, Y, Zs, where are they? Those identities are all gone. They're totally new souls, different souls, or maybe same souls, but totally different identities are now ruling the world, running the world, living in this world. So just see how flimsy this identity is. This identity is simply a role play of our eternal individuality. Our eternal individuality is that I am servant of Krishna. So, coming to living up, giving up all Vyavaharic responsibilities and coming to serve the Supreme Lord 24 hours is jumping out of the Vyavaharic world into the Paramarthic world. Because devotion service, that means you are acting as a servant of Krishna. So when you are acting as a servant of Krishna, even though you may not be mature, you may not be awakened, but still you are transcendental. Just like a mango is green, the same mango becomes ripe and sweet. So similarly, our devotion service, our life is like a green mango now. It is a question of time. As long as the mango is connected to the tree of Guru Parampara and obedience is there to the instructions of Guru, the mango will ripen. And Krishna consciousness will be experienced. Pure Krishna consciousness will be experienced. From mixed devotion service, we will move towards pure devotion service. Unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So, as Prabhupada is explaining about this King Uttānapada, how he did not wait to do his duties and rather he took up a path of self-realization, very instructive even to the present situation of devotees who leave their home and they come for self-realization at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Maintain that the devotee who comes like that with Sarva Dharman mood should maintain that even after 50 years. That new Bhakta consciousness is very, very powerful. Afterwards, because that was a mercy touch of Srila Prabhupada. Should remember that. And later on, a material calculation we do, and even though the facility is such that Prabhupada has given, even if your consciousness falls down also materially, you have to engage in devotion service if you are here. So it will purify us. But even it will accelerate one's purification. One is very conscious of these things. One should be very, very much aware that I should not fall back. My consciousness should not fall back like a karmi consciousness. What is karmi consciousness? Is always thinking about his concerns. He is always thinking about his food. He is concerned about his shelter. He is concerned about his name, fame, society. These are all his concerns. So therefore he is called fallen. Maya has trapped him into a Maya world. We have to be very careful in that even when we are engaged in devotion service within the organizational, All these vyavaharic things should be handled only as a matter of duty. Duty means action minus emotion, minus personal emotion. Of course, without emotion you cannot do anything. Duty itself is driven by the higher emotion, transcendental emotion of accepting things which are favorable for devotion service, rejecting things which are unfavorable. One has strong emotions. Devotee, not that he is emotionless. He has strong emotions, but he has got the emotions of vairagya, he has got the emotions of virakti. While he is in this material world, rising above, when encountered with situations which are vyavaharically not favorable, depressing. Just like if somebody gets sick, how does a devotee who is full-time devotee handle sickness? Does he get depressed? No. He understands this is nature of the material world. I should simply focus on more and more of devotion service of the Lord and not allow that to depress me. Because devotion service is transcendental. I will learn how to take paramarthik ananda. Vyavaharik cause may be there for dukkha, body, pain, everything. But what is the use of me understanding the knowledge of Bhagavatam if I cannot transcend the dualities when it attacks me? For that you have the weapon of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you have the weapon of transcendental knowledge, you have the weapon of soul happiness, transcendental happiness. Fill your mind with all these things, then one can easily, all these dualities become very insignificant. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Like at the inauguration of this HK Hill, like many times you have showed like how Narasimha Deva entered the altar mystically, and recently there was an inauguration in the VK Hill. Did you come across similar divine intervention of the Lord? And if you are comfortable, I would really appreciate if you can share such divine intervention if you come across.
When Raja Govinda, so big deity, so heavy, first we had to keep the pita. Pita itself is heavy. That was 3 days before we kept the pita. And then there is, the deity has to go and sit on pita. Because it's a big deity, normal process is after they're placed on the pita, there is little adjustment required to keep the verticality. Take it, move it, turn it, exact how it should be. In the case of Raja Govinda, moment we placed him first time, that was the first and the last. He was perfectly, didn't want to get up from there. Just fitted exactly, the verticality was perfect. The angle was also perfect. When we do that, we have this person who made the deity present there to do all these things, because they also cannot, because it's a joint between pita and the deity can nittle off this way, that way. So that is one wonderful thing that not only me, many devotees observed that. Afterward there was no need at all. to move the deity. That's so many wonderful things. There are, everything there is a miracle only. The last President's program was confirmed only two months ahead. So in 8 weeks, if you had come there and seen 8 weeks before, you'll say, how is it possible? It all happened. That is a major thing that I cannot forget in this installation. How within 8 weeks, everything happened. And it's not that in 8 weeks, it all happened. From 8 weeks you're struggling. Last 2 weeks, everything happened. The police department came, they said, no, we're going to write to the president's office that a lot of construction is going on, nothing is ready. Even the pandal is not ready. So Lord mercifully wanted to give us that experience, all the devotees who are involved in that. When finally the function happened, we're all like in a state of dream. It went on so meticulously. All the entire police department were completely relieved and super happy. Why they were super happy? Because they were in super tension before. They were thinking, my job will go if I don't write. I had to write the fact. Reports were going on every 3 days. So anyway, it is Lord's Leela. Now Raja Govinda is standing on Vaikuntha hill and reigning, distributing his glance to those who come there. Everybody is blown over by his transcendental effulgence when they have darshan of Govinda. Not only welcome, not only visiting pilgrims, but when the devotees themselves are. I asked one devotee who was visiting devotee from another temple. He was leaving. Every 4 days they were getting some devotees by rotation. A devotee was saying, I still cannot explain what I am feeling when I go before Govinda. Something that is transcendental, you cannot grasp. Grasp means you cannot measure. Usually our mind measures and settles. Something is transcendental, there is a effulgence. It doesn't, our mind cannot measure what is before us. So that is the mercy, that is the explanation for what the devotee experienced. Because the deity cannot be measured. The unlimited qualities of the Lord He is unlimited. So Satta, Chitta and Ananda, unlimited person is an unlimited person. Ordinary people, when they come in few days of your association, you will measure him up. But deities cannot be measured. Another question. Behind, okay. No, you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Wait up into the clock. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, if like you told, the tangential path that a devotee takes is because of the attraction of a pure devotee. But in the case of Dhruva Mahārāja, the tangential path that he had taken was to get a kingdom, but ultimately attained the Lord.
No. His tangential path is, the point of tangent was meeting Narada Rishi. Others are all circumstantial. If he had not met Narada Muni, then there is nothing. He'll go to the forest and get eaten by animals and take birth again as something else. The meeting of a pure devotee is what is a defining moment of one's spiritual life. Tangential point is that. Many circumstances will lead to that. Even we, before we came to Prabhupada, there could be many circumstantial supports which made us seek spiritual life. Chaturuja bhajante mam. So those are circumstances. So we all also in our lives, certain circumstances made us inclined to accept Prabhupada. So similarly, this situation of Dhruva Mahārāja getting frustrated, wanting the material desire, was not the tangential. Okay. One question that boy wanted to ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I only one question actually. That forgiveness is a divine quality. Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
So, but to whom we are forgiving, that person breaks justice, means what we can do?
That person
breaks justice. Breaks justice.
Breaks justice.
Justice. How we can solve this problem? How we can solve this problem in a good manner?
Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Solution to all problems, take Japamala and chant. How many rounds you are chanting?
I'm chanting 16 rounds, Prabhu. I only started 5 months. Before 5 months I started.
So don't worry, go on chanting. Don't try to solve this problem. Ignore this problem.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.